now discuss the temporal context of occupation. Again, my name is Lennon Graho. I will guide you through the different discussion points and discuss with you how to understand the temporality of occupations in this module. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at lgraho@slu.edu. Let us begin. At the end of this module, you should be able to define the temporal context of occupation, discuss the temporality of occupations, understand and analyze, then discuss the different perspectives in understanding how humans engage in occupations and how they orchestrate occupations within the flow of time. And lastly, describe how human development and growth affect our choices of occupations and our occupational behaviors. The temporal context. The Occupational Therapy Practice Framework document defines the temporal context as the location of occupational performance in time. It is also described as the experience of time as shaped by engagement in occupations. The temporal aspects of occupation, which contribute to the patterns of daily occupations, can be described in terms of the rhythm, tempo, synchronization, duration, and sequence of engagement. This also includes the stages of life, the time of the day or year, the duration, and even the rhythm of activity or history. Let us take a look at this video of a child brushing his teeth. What do you observe? Yes, he seems to be having fun doing it. He did it in front of a mirror. He smiles. He looks at himself. He almost seems like he's even dancing doing it. Do you think he does this in the same manner every single day? Do you think he's happy to do it every day? Do you think what we see in this video can be replicated in the exact same way every single time? That is the temporality of occupation. Now let's begin understanding the temporal dimension of occupation. Doris Pierce, in her groundbreaking book, Occupation by Design, describes each occupational experience as having subjective temporal characteristics. In general, occupations, as we perform and engage in them, have a beginning and an end. She further adds that occupations are an occurrence. It is an event in time. It is a particular person's experience, and perhaps my favorite description about the temporality of occupations is that they are not repeatable. They are as unique as snowflakes. The way you brushed your teeth this morning may not be the exact same way and manner you brushed your teeth the day before. Say, for example, this morning you may be rushing while brushing your teeth because you're running late for work, while the other week you were brushing your teeth and listening to Florence and the Machine. While yesterday when you were brushing your teeth, you were actually in a good mood, happy, dancing, looking at yourself in the mirror. Occupations are also chunked in time. We have our morning set of occupations, our afternoon set of occupations, occupations we like doing during the summer, occupations we like doing when the weather is cold or cooler, and things like that. Occupations also have phases. There is a beginning, an end, and an action in between. More certainly, occupations have a certain pace, a certain duration, speed, and rhythm. Some occupations are performed and engaged in at a faster pace and speed. Some are more rhythmic, some do not have rhythm at all, and some we need to just pace ourselves while doing them. We all perform occupations at a unique temporal rhythm. An example of understanding this unique temporal rhythm is understanding biotemporality. Pierce states that occupations occur within strongly repeating biotemporal rhythms which are regulated by the brain. The primary human biotemporal rhythm is the circadian rhythm. It is the strongest biological regulator of human occupational rhythm. Reflect on this. What activities do you do as soon as you wake up in the morning? What occupations do you engage in only at the end of the day? It is important for us to understand how the brain regulates biotemporal rhythms. Here are some important terminology and their lengths. The ultradian biotemporal rhythm has a length of less than 1 day. The circadian rhythm has a length of 24 hours. Circaseptal biorhythm has a length of 7 days, or a week. The menstrual rhythm has a length of 28.5 days, or almost once every month. And the circannual rhythm has a length of 1 year. Pierce mentions that just as biotemporal rhythms exert a strong shaping force on our occupational patterns, sociotemporal rhythms mold our patterns so that they fit smoothly within the patterns of others in our culture and surrounding life world. Biotemporal and sociotemporal rhythms work in synchrony. Some examples of sociotemporality include weekdays and weekends. The 7-day rhythm appears naturally. We typically work for 5 days and then take a break for 2 days to do fun stuff. Culturally accepted schedules include when to take vacations and do holidays, and when we start and end school. Clocks and watches strongly impact our occupational patterns. We always say, oh, it's time to have lunch, or it's time to go to the gym. It's late, I need to go to bed. Or I've been studying for 4 hours, I need a Facebook break. It is also important for us to recognize cultural attitudes toward time. The monochronic time use, or M-time, emphasizes doing one thing at a time, while polychronic time for certain cultures means doing multiple things at once. It is very natural for us to orchestrate, arrange, and sequence our activities and occupations within the flow of time. The brain is the central mechanism by which we use our attention, memory, and processing skills to analyze information. The temporal horizon is the ability to learn and draft sequences of actions and activities we wish to enact before it actually happens. The basis of this is human intentionality. Neuroscience tells us that before the motor centers of the brain are recruited in performing actions, supplemental motor areas that trigger the intention to move are recruited first. This means that before we actually cook a meal, we first should want to do it, then intentionally orchestrate in our brains and head the steps we need to do before we actually do it. The orchestration of occupations happens daily. Consciously and unconsciously, we orchestrate our daily patterns of occupations, some of it effortful, most of it effortless and automatic. Say, for example, personal projects. Personal projects are not occupations, but it is a way of thinking and orchestrating occupations. An example of a personal project is losing weight. What steps, activities, and occupations do we need to do to fulfill this personal project? Increasing exercise, walking instead of always riding a car, or even eating small, frequent meals. One way of unloading the brain from constant processing of occupations is by chunking them into habits and routines. Think about it. Do you always need to think about how you drive to school in the morning? Or even how you do your laundry and fold laundry afterwards? Typical human development influences the way we perform and engage in occupations. Our constantly evolving roles and responsibilities affect the way we reconfigure our occupations and impact our occupational behaviors. When I was younger, I have more energy and endurance for social activities and even partying. But because now my priorities have changed, I devote more time for work and studying and less time partying. Now, let us review. What are the temporal phases of occupation? Each occupation has a blank and something in between. Each occupation has a beginning, an end, and something in between. What is the strongest biological indicator of human occupational rhythm? Yes, it's called the circadian rhythm. One way of orchestrating occupations within the flow of time is by establishing blank and blank. Do you remember? One way of orchestrating occupations within the flow of time is by establishing habits and routines. Good job. You're ready to move on to the next module.